This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Okay, so how can earth tones be dead? I see fits all the time. Well, just because there's an abundance of something doesn't necessarily mean there's life. For example, if there were a bunch of dead trees in a plot of land, is the forest still alive?
Tell them to bring out the cappuccino!
Now, obviously, it kind of goes without saying, there's a whole lot of cappuccino to go around, at least commercially. But I think the disruption and the eccentricity that came with the earth tone palette over the past 7 years has gone completely stale. Remember that feeling the first time you ever explored the earth tone palette? That nostalgic feeling of, oh man, yeah, this is different. I like this. I didn't even have to put that much thought or effort into this, but I'm kind of cooking anyways. Not to say someone that just started off can't have that same experience now, because I'm sure it happens all the time. I mean, these things are on the windows at a mall. But for everyone else in fashion, I feel like it's kind of lost its edge, and a lot of people are just kind of waiting in limbo for the next big thing, which in some ways is kind of here already. But we will get into that in a little bit. So how did the earth tone movement get as big as it got? Did we all just wake up and decide, bring out the cappuccino? Fashion has always had this kind of conversational relationship with music. Like something cool will happen musically and then the clothes will match that energy. Or a cool brand or style emerges and then artists will really be the first to boost that signal to the masses, as they are some of the most influential people on the planet. And we've seen this relationship do wonders for brands like Bape, Balenciaga, Rick, Alix, Stone Island, CDG Play, Off-White, Saint Laurent, Raf, Amiri. Honestly, I could go on forever. But one of the most influential brands to bloom from this music fashion friendship is obviously Fear of God. And the influential vessel to mainstream appeal for this brand is obviously Barack Obama. But Kanye was very inspired by what Jerry was doing with Fear of God. And I feel like Yeezy is clearly his interpretation of this idea.
Yeah, I had launched Fear of God and we just dropped like our lookbook. I got a random call from Virgil like, yo, can you be in Atlantic City tomorrow? Ye wants to see the Fear of God collection that you did. I got to Atlantic City, had everything in my duffel bag, had my little video lookbook, played it for him and gave him like the point of view behind the collection. But before I could get through explaining everything, he's like holding up his t-shirt. He's like, man, I could see all the thought that went into this. And it was at that moment that I knew that we saw things the same way.
And a lot of his designs with Adidas kind of followed suit in that world as well. And we all know how successful that venture was. And so naturally, Fear of God, Adidas, and everything in between that, like workwear and military core, seemingly exploded into mainstream popularity overnight. With his tour outfits, Yeezy collections, and everything Kanye was doing creatively at the time, all those things kind of shared the same fashion DNA, which was earth tones. And then, that was just how it was for a while. Kanye was doing his thing, earth tones are everywhere, and life was good. And then now, 7 years later, Kanye's doing his thing, earth tones are everywhere, and life was good. So why do I even bring this up? Well, just getting to the point, and even also just getting past the whole essentials thing, I feel like the earth tone palette currently at this state in fashion puts a bottleneck on your expression. It like puts horse blinders on your perspective as well. But yeah, expression. But you know, maybe you're not trying to say much, which is fine. By all means, bring out the cappuccino. Tell him bring out the cappuccino. But I think more and more, especially with the rise of TikTok and everyone wanting to compete and one-up one another, we're seeing a rise in people getting creative and ambitious with their outfits and styles. It's encouraged to be zany and disruptive, and I love that. But I think that it's really hard to keep that edge when you're boxed in to an earth tone palette. For example, the debut Fear of God runway show. There's a lot here, and I feel like some of these pieces individually, from material to the cut, crazy. He brought out the cappuccino. You gotta go to confession before you can even put some of these clothes on, brother. I'm talking 10 Hail Marys before I see you lay eyes on this jacket. Look at this leather. This is some baptized A5 Wagyu leather on my body right now. I have never seen leather so close to God. Beautifully executed. I love a lot of the looks, but even though this is the brand's signature palette, I do feel like the overexposure and commercialization of this color palette have really dampened the impact of what they might be trying to say with this collection. My liking to it so diluted. And again, I'm not blaming Essentials either. Like, this is their bag. The Earth Tone Plague is really everyone's fault. The most recent development is the Travis Scott Utopia merch line. We all know there are going to be tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people buying Travis Scott merch, all earth tones. The whole thing is earth tones. You know what looks good with brown? Brown. How many cappuccinos do we need, brother? And to really show that I feel like it's the color palette and not necessarily the clothes, this spread right here, look at this. This is all from that same Fear of God collection, but it's the all black looks. To me, this brings a whole different bag to the game, and I love it. Putting these looks side by side with the earth tone ones, right? It feels newer. These ones, these black ones really had a bigger impact on me than even the more vibrant colored earth tone ones just because of how fatigued we are with this palette. I mean, it's still clearly a Fog Essentials outfit, but it doesn't feel as stale. It doesn't feel as washed. I think this change in color just shows how much everyone's really been wanting a refresh even at the base level. And so knowing this, where are things going now? Bringing it back to the point I was talking about earlier where fashion and music kind of hold hands to dress up the culture. I think we were overdue for another Life of Pablo album release live stream cultural reset moment. It's been a moment since we've seen such a synergized movement with music and fashion in the community. And currently I feel like we're seeing a style and crowd hitting that stride, and that is the opium aesthetic. I brought this up in previous videos, but even since then, I feel like we've seen this aesthetic and this movement get even bigger, with more live exposure to Cardi and a lot of the other people on his label, and at the surface level of this chaotic and eccentric style. What is the backbone? Funny enough, even though the all black palette is just black, I feel like there's way more room to express yourself. I feel like the absence of color leaves more room in the mix for your piece selection and styling to do the talking, as opposed to when I see like a tan cream hoodie with a tan cream pair of pants. I can't not think, Tell him bring out the... Yo, what's good? Yo, what's up? Yeah, nice to meet you. Tell him bring out the cappuccino. I'm not saying that you should go outside and record every single person you see in a tan or brown hoodie and go, tell him bring out the cappuccino, and then send that video to me at Vans at the Met Gala on Instagram. I'm not telling you to do that. I digress. I think we're seeing people take a liking to higher levels of fashion and styling. And I think it's really hard to press those boundaries and push that envelope when you're kind of hard stuck in an overplayed palette. The cappuccino has had its time, but I think it's time to
Tell him to bring out the whole ocean.
bring out the whole ocean. I think the main takeaway from this video is that color palette holds a lot of weight when it comes to styling. Something that we kind of just throw out the window. As beautifully crafted and paired as a lot of these Fear of God pieces from the runway are, I just really can't get past the color palette. And I'm also not sitting here telling Jerry Lorenzo Manuel Jr. what to do. He is a master at this style. This is his thing. There's a whole ocean. There's a whole ocean out there for you. And right now, all this presentation of the last minute of this video, right now you're swimming in the sponsor of this video, Squarespace. Tell them bring out the whole Squarespace. This was all built using the free website builder at squarespace.com. Squarespace is the best place to make a website for absolutely anything. They got over 100 designer award-winning templates so that you could get a head start wherever you need it. The easy part about everything is that they have a workflow system called Fluid Engine. It makes everything building a website as simple as dragging and dropping assets where you need them, putting technical parts where you need them, and everything is just on a grid. I just like creating an asset library and then just building from there. And one of the biggest tools I've been using for my personal brand that I talk about every time is email capture. And Squarespace makes it really easy to create a landing page so that people that are visiting your website can input their information and subscribe to an email list all sorted out on Squarespace. And then when you're ready to sell to everyone, they have all the e-commerce tools that you need integrated onto the website builder so that you can set up everything in-house. You can even connect a Squarespace Square Reader to your phone if your point of sale is in person, and then everything will be handled logistically on Squarespace through your phone. And all of this, everything I've talked about, even this website that I just made, you can all try this all for free at squarespace.com/frugalaesthetic. You can get a free trial of the website builder, and then when you decide to make a purchase of a website or a domain, you'll get 10% off your order only at squarespace.com/frugalaesthetic. Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Bring out the whole Squarespace. Tell them bring out the cappuccino.